The Bidwell Mansion in Chico caught fire on December 11th. It was temporarily closed to the public while it was being restored. Days after that fire, investigators said it was arson. Officers with California State Parks, CAL FIRE, and Chico Police say they've arrested 30-year-old Kevin Carlson. He faces several charges, including arson. Officials plan to hold a news conference on Monday with more details.
New spot. New lens cover. I got a black mist filter, 1/4 strength. So it should give a nice like kind of ambience and like glow, especially like when you look at the lights back there. You can see this glow around them. And I also got a new pipe carrying case, which is nice. Because my last one, there was like this box that was falling apart. It was gigantic. It was getting really annoying. I might show you guys after I record the video. But anyway, we're gonna have some more Cornish here. This pipe container is nice because you can just keep a couple bags of tobacco in it. You can keep your pipe. I got 2 pipes in here. I got my lighter, my poker / stomper tool. And I got some pipe cleaners, which, by the way, I should have probably used. Beforehand, oh well, I think it should be fine. I've never been in this spot. Hopefully nobody minds me being here. I think it does say that technically the park closes at night, but like they got ball games happening, they got tennis. Tennis courts are where those lights are that you see. It's popping off over there. Anyway, I've been looking forward to this smoke all day. Let's hit it. You guys might be able to hear the kids, the ball players, sports ball types. I was listening to a podcast today with the Christian nationalist himself, Stephen Wolfe. He's sort of discussing, what made the outcome of the PCA's committee on Christian nationalism. They're doing a study. And he says, basically what it's going to come down to is that they're going to say, okay, this is historic, whatever. But they're going to take the feet off of it and say, it doesn't mean we can implement anything. You just got to vote Reagan style and grill. You got to talk your sports ball at church, then go home, grill, repeat. So he was kind of making fun of sports ball a little bit. I thought that was pretty funny because I'm not really a sports ball guy myself. I mean, I think it's a fun thing. It's a cool thing. I think it's a really healthy, good thing for young people. It teaches you competition. It gets you athletic. It heightens your skills on, awareness and just all kinds of, there's a lot of positives. But like the obsession that we have in America specifically, all around the globe it's an obsession, but around America it seems to be like, I don't know, just such a weird thing. Not to mention all the crazy betting that's been going on. So today I wanted to talk about sort of what the mind virus of this communist Marxist agenda and ideology has really done to our nation. And in ways that are more than just annoyances from, cranky liberal women and, Antifa breaking windows and tagging BLM and rainbow flags and all this stuff. We've all seen sort of monuments that have been burned down or destroyed or torn down because they were great men in the past that had slaves or were considered racist or white supremacists and all these things. And, I didn't grow up in the South. I don't live in the South. And so a lot of these guys, these things were anywhere near those monuments. They're not relevant to me. They weren't really something that kind of affected me in a way that I could tangibly associate with outside of just being an American and thinking, oh, this is our heritage. But this is old news in a sense, but back in 2024, the town I grew up in, Chico, there was a mansion called Bidwell Mansion. And it's sort of a monument to John Bidwell, who was I believe he was a congressman. He did run for president. It didn't pan out, but he was a wealthy frontier man. He traveled from the East Coast to, I think, stopped in, I want to say Idaho. He was there for a while, and then eventually made his way to California. And he was among some of the first to come to California when it comes to Americans. So it was still Mexico at the time. But he did a lot of. He played a big role in the agricultural sort of empire that was built in California. He was a farmer. He purchased a lot of land, had a lot of land, and turned it into farmland. And it really did sort of spark the beginning stages of the California breadbasket, if you will. To this day, Chico is a huge farming town. When you go to Chico, you have to go through a couple of routes, but you go in through some rice fields, or you go in through some orchards, and it's all these nuts, mostly nuts, but also fruits. In fact, when I moved to Southern California, my youth pastor had this T-shirt from a factory in Chico, and it's the Chico Nut Factory. I don't remember that's the exact name, but the tagline was "Where the nuts come, Chico, where the nuts come from," which was funny because I was from Chico and I was kind of nutty. Not gonna lie. Glory be to God, he really turned me around. So anyway, back to the mansion. The mansion is something that you would tour, like at school, like at public school. I was a part of public school, and we toured the mansion. I remember, and I had to have been in, mid elementary school, so like 3rd, 4th grade, something. Not too old. One of the interesting parts I remember was having at the top of the stairs, the flight of the stairs, and this is like a 5-story building or mansion. At the top of one of the stairs, at least, they had a bench, they had a chair, like a sofa type thing. And it's literally, what they explained to us was literally for the ladies to stop and rest because their corsets were so tight that they would need to stop and rest and breathe. Now, whether or not that's true or not, I don't know. Maybe that's their way of saying, oh, the misogyny of these men forcing women to wear these corsets, it caused breathing problems. Like, likely the women wanted to do it. Women are sort of the arbiters of fashion for one another. Like, they police one another. It's less the case that it's men policing women, unless you're talking about moderate clothing. In that case, actually, you would think men would be a little bit more against the corset, given its sort of desirable, goal and whatnot. Anyways, this mansion, being a sort of monument staple to the founding of Chico and in large part California, and representing a frontier American that pioneered, westward. It stood as a symbol, right, in a historical monument that, again, it actually touches me. It actually sort of meant something to me. Come to find out, I'm going to explain this. This is true. There's some leftist, Marxist ideologist was. The story goes, he was walking by and he noticed a bunch of homeless people by the mansion. And at the time, they were doing renovations on the mansion. So he said, well, our government's giving money towards this renovation of this mansion. And meanwhile, there are these homeless people just sleeping right outside of it. So he went to several different stores and purchased a gas can from one, gasoline from another, gas from a gas station, and various other, items in order to create a firebomb. And he took it, and you can see it on video. You can see him walking with carrying trash bags full of this gas can. Goes over, he breaks the window, and he throws a fire on it, and you can see this massive explosion, and you can hear it through somebody's ring cam, like, a block away or whatever it is. Somehow, for some reason, for whatever reason, the alarms did not go off, the fire alarms did not go off, and the police did not end up, or the fire department wasn't on scene until, I think it was like an hour later or more. Actually, I feel like it could have been more than that. But anyway, the thing burned. The thing freaking burned. And what's left is just like, just corpse of a building. And, the building, it wasn't just the building. I mean, they had all this furniture and these artifacts, these things that the family owned, pictures and tools and books and all kinds of really cool old items from, I think, the 1800s. I mean, this guy was back in the 1800s. Just burned down. It's ridiculous. I mean, the guy's lawyer says that the arsonist didn't intend to burn down the whole thing. He just intended to sort of burn part of it, which is absolutely absurd. When you look at what he did, you see what happened, the way it blew up. You see how much fuel and everything he would have to use. I mean, it was clearly the goal was, I'm going to burn this thing down. I mean, it's ridiculous. Regardless, like, you're burning a monument. It's so that pissed me off, and that's what I want to get at. Is it these ideologies are causing people to burn down our heritage, burn down our civilization in very real ways. I mean, you can't restore that back to its original form in any, legitimate way. It's going to be some, astroturfed version of itself. I mean, what kind of civilization burns its history down to the ground? I mean, what? It is just crazy to me that we have people with such an ideology. It's like there's far more things he could have done productively to help these homeless people, right? That is not one. That does not do it. So he's in prison for the maximum arsenal sentence, which I think is 10 or 12 years. But I mean, I don't think that that's enough to be. Oh, and he also got fined $39 million. So hopefully he actually has that held over his head for the rest of his life. But he may end up somehow, not having to actually pay it or whatever. Who knows? But I can't fathom what's going on in someone's brain that they'd be willing to do that. And I'm really not interested in those type of people running amok and committing these types of crimes. And so something needs to be done about this ideology. It needs to be rooted out of our society. And unfortunately, I think without the schools having a tremendous, reform, that we're not going to get out of that. The schools, the media, Hollywood. I feel like my pipe is not hitting as strong tonight. I don't know if I packed it wrong or what's going on. I'm gonna poke out the stem here a little bit. Oh, that helped, I think. Yeah, I think that big time helped. You guys might be able to hear the rain and the geese. so anyway, so when I found that out, I looked up the mansion, the website, and it turns out they're going to restore the mansion. And the actual, the way they described it was they're going to reimagine the mansion. I do not like that language. What does that language mean? Reimagine the mansion? I mean, why not rebuild the mansion, restore the mansion? Reimagine to me is like, okay, well, how would we do it now that we're not white supremacists anymore? And that pisses me off even more, because what it represents to me, what it sounds like to me, is that this ideology that caused the thing to be burned down is now also bleeding over into the rebuilding or reimagining of the mansion. And so who knows what they're going to do? Are they going to put up stuff about, oh yeah, he had slaves, or oh yeah, he had, this policy he had in mind, and this and that, and they're going to turn it into some, quasi-Holocaust museum, some quasi-Marxist agenda. You got to think, I mean, if they're taking kids there, if the public school is sending kids there to view it, I mean, there likely are things about it that they don't want kids nowadays to know or see or whatever. They don't want those concepts in their head, right? And they're going to be involving this tribe, a local native Chico, California tribe committee, to be on the board of this. Which is, I feel like it's like enough said, right? Like, are these tribes going to be, want to hold true to the American, true character of John Bidwell and his American spirit? I don't know about that. So I went up to the library and I borrowed a couple of books on John Bidwell, and I think one of them was sort of like a history of California, but the frontier, like the traveling to California, because he was a part of this. He started this company called the Bidwell Company or something, which was the Bidwell train. It was a sort of a means to get people over. There was a gold rush, and so there were a great many Americans that came over. So I plan on reading those and getting an idea of who the man was. I mean, maybe he was, even back then, maybe he was less of an American that I would be proud of in certain ways, but it would be really cool to see if what the case was, and then if it was, if he was a very solid American, it would be cool to actually see a documentary or make a documentary. I don't see that I can make a documentary. It just seems like so much work, but who knows? Who knows what'll happen? I plan to visit there in the near future, and that might give me a little bit more of a zeal and inspiration to do something. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, just, it's one thing to hear about these things happening to other people in their towns, but when it happens in your town, it really does give you a perspective and open your eyes to what we're really fighting against, and how destructive it is. I don't really have any answers other than, hope to get people in office that will do something about it, make a change in the schools, and, education and be honest about our history and be proud of our history. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. So we're probably going to have to deal with a handful more of these incidents, unfortunately, because it's not going away. And it's an old ideology, right? Comes out of the Frankfurt School. Anyway, boys, that's about all I got for you today. I'm still trying to kind of figure out my channel here, what I'm doing with it. I currently am set on the pipe sesh discussion. Obviously, I'm talking about sort of political things. That's currently what I'm really interested in. I've found my interests in other things, music, theology, movies, but craft beer. No more craft beer at this point, guys. I'm gonna cut. But, for now, this is the sort of the content direction I'm going. This is just my way of contributing to the conversation, to try and be a positive voice. Encourage you guys to be okay with thinking about America in a like patriotic way. Be okay with, having views and thinking outside of the PC narratives. Enjoy yourself with a pipe, a cigar, what have you. And don't be afraid to speak your mind, and whatnot. But I appreciate everybody watching, and we'll catch you next video.